stood where Pilliga trees used to stand. All I could see was poisonous rocks and sand. I feel like a minstrel who's bringing back home the bad news about the danger we're in and the game we must not lose. They're killing the earth with chemicals, flushing the gas, creating a dangerous alien green morass, and poisonous ponds spilling and spreading kill zones. 10 years have passed, not one blade of grass has grown.
The Pilliga is a very important place to me. I've been studying it over the last 20 years, the wildlife and the land systems, the ecosystems. It's a fascinating place from a scientific point of view and from an emotional point of view. But I've done quite a lot of scientific work over the last 20 years. Wildlife surveys mainly, plus also I've done quite a bit of research on the small mammals here and through the University of New England. I think the biggest threats to the Pilliga at the moment are mining, both from coal and from coal seam gas. They're very intrusive, and the environmental studies that have been conducted to assess their impacts are just, well, woeful. The existing field and their plans to build another 500 wells cuts right through the Bohena Creek system, which is one of the major surface water feeders into the Namoi from this region, and also right in the middle of where the rare and endemic Pilliga mouse, which is a native rodent, occurs. That animal occurs nowhere else in Australia.
There's a kill area here, but this is this algae. Now you'll notice it's emerald green here. See the emerald green of it? Well, this is associated with the coal seam gas industry. But it's only at these coal seam gas sites that this algae of this type, of this colour, has been experienced. And when this dries out, it goes all cobblestoney. And it's the only one place this stuff can come from. But that's it there in all its radiant glory. It's not quite as green as it used to be, but it's a lot greener than stuff on the other side. See little gas bubbles associated with this algae? Oh yeah, yep. So obviously the bugger is converting solar energy into a gas. You'll notice the kill is not over here, that's uphill. It is all on the natural water course. Okay, and there's only one place where it can come from, that pond. That pond waxes and wanes all the time.
Coal seam gas is a process which requires the groundwater to be excavated up to the surface in order to stimulate the production of a gas. The problem with that is this water should never be near the surface, and it contains all sorts of minerals that are not compatible with biological systems on the surface, including all sorts of salts such as arsenic, manganese and various other compounds.
I'm gravely concerned for our water. The toxins are getting into the underground water, and at the moment it's just affecting the farmers who live nearby. If it poisons one local person, it can poison all of us. It can poison our food, our stock, our drinking water. It's a really scary story.
It was actually growing up here, the grass, up to almost this fence. It's just slowly dying back again. The older trees, the real old ones, and you'll see one or two of them, are still surviving because they've managed to penetrate the clay layer that's underneath here. Now that's the other thing too, that this stuff has the ability to alter the clay layer so it becomes impervious. Salt will affect clay. When they dug down with the excavator to get a sampling of it, of the clay barrier, they bored it up and you could actually see the stratas in the clay. And that was an area that had been badly affected by cobblestone and spill.
We've been encouraged to believe that gas is clean. And my personal view of what I've seen and the fears that I have for our water system being destroyed forever, there's nothing clean and there's nothing healthy about gas.
Now, the Pilliga mouse is a nationally listed threatened species that is an endemic to just this part of New South Wales. This is quite a special place in terms of us wanting to maintain our biodiversity and look after our threatened species. Pilliga mouse were caught here recently in exactly this kind of habitat. This particular species has been identified as an indicator species for preferred habitat for the mouse, and it's the right density and has all the right conditions to support populations of Pilliga mice. And you can see right next door to here, the plant has actually cut right across through the middle of this sort of habitat.
When we pumped our tank up on the 18th of March, because we only pump an overhead tank every so often, when I had a shower that night, the water was stinking like you wouldn't believe. Not quite a hydrogen sulphide smell, but a smell of a sulphide type smell, but very, very pungent, like a cross between rotting earth and a stale sewer. We didn't hear anything from them until around about the 18th of April, when I started to break out in sores and the water was getting worse in its smell, and Mr. Mark Rogers came out with a letter and it said, Santos has tested your bore. We found out that there's sulphate reducing bacteria in it of a fair amount of a large quantity. We don't recommend you use your water for any form of domestic purposes. It is not of human origin, it is of animal origin. Santos has wiped its hands completely of it. We have no operations within 2 kilometres of your property. Well, next door is Dewhurst 8 and the nearest well's about 900 from my property fence. So I don't quite see how that they can say they're not within 2,000 metres or 2 kilometres of my property. So it's not only my water that's being affected, it's everybody else's in the Great Artesian Basin. So if I've got a problem on my place, you may end up with a problem on yours. It was fine up until I filled the tank on the 18th of March. There was nothing wrong with my water.
If what we see above ground is going on down below ground as well, that's the greatest worry, and nobody really knows what's going on under there because we can't see it. And this is happening now. How far does it have to go?
There are other ways to do things. This should be stopped until all the sciences are known, not just the pretend water studies, the pretend analysis of what it's going to do for the country. We need to know.
We can't have a large coal seam gas field in the Pilliga. We can't take that risk for our water supply and for the future of our well-being of our communities.
Water, save the water. Water is precious, makes everything flourish and thrive. Water, holy water, Water is life. Water is life.